Have you ever prayed for God to remove something from your life, but he didn't? Maybe you prayed for the pain to go away, for the anxiety to stop, for the struggles to finally end. And instead of changing your circumstances, it feels like God is asking you to keep walking through them. If you ever wrestled with that, let me encourage you today. Paul was a man who saw miracles. He preached the gospel. He planted churches. God used him in extraordinary ways. Yet there was something in his life that he desperately wanted God to remove. He called it a thorn in his flesh. And at 3 different times, he pleaded with the Lord to take it away. Have you ever been there? Not just praying once, but praying again and again and again, believing that this time God will answer differently. But instead of removing the thorn, God answers saying, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. God didn't say, Paul, I'll remove the struggle. He basically said, I'll give you the strength you need to walk through it. Sometimes we measure God's faithfulness by whether our circumstances actually change. And you know what? God often measures his faithfulness by how he sustains us while we're in them. His grace isn't just forgiveness. His grace is his divine enablement. It's the strength to keep going when you feel like quitting. It's the peace that doesn't make sense. It's the wisdom you didn't know you had. It's the ability to stand when life says you should have fallen. There are some things we would have never learned about God if he had immediately removed every struggle. We wouldn't know him as our comforter if we never needed comfort. We wouldn't know him as our sustainer if we never been weak. We wouldn't know the depth of his grace if life has always been easy. Now, hear me clearly. I'm not saying God never heals or never delivers. He absolutely does. But sometimes his answer isn't to remove the burden. Sometimes his answer is to strengthen you while you are carrying it. Isaiah 40 says, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. And so maybe that's exactly what you need today. Not necessarily a different circumstance, but fresh strength, fresh grace, fresh hope. So if you've been asking God, why haven't you taken this thing away from me? Perhaps he wants to remind you that his grace is sufficient and is already carrying you further than you realize. One day you'll look back and recognize that you didn't make it because you were strong. You made it because God's grace never left you. So don't give up. Lean into his presence, depend on his strength, and trust that what God chooses to sustain, he also has the power to complete. His grace isn't just enough. It's more than enough. So God bless you. And until next time, keep trusting God and keep growing in him.